Hi Victor.
Hello.
Can you present yourself in a few words for our readers of Globe-MMA.com?
Basically, my name is Victor Estima. I'm a black belt, second degree for Gracie Barra. I've been training Jiu-Jitsu for the last 13 years, and I've been also competing worldwide, in the major competitions on the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu scene. My major title is the World Championships in the no-gi, so I became World Champion in 2011, and also became European Champion in 2012. Since my beginning of a career, I've always been competing in the major events. So my passion in Jiu-Jitsu, I'm always looking for the submission. I like I think it's a point to fight for winning on a little points or advantage. I like to keep it real. I like to fight for the finish. I always say that when I talk to people. If you see my fights, I like I go for the submission, even though sometimes I might get down points, but I make sure I go with the good tries to the finishes and hoping to get them as more often as I can. So that's basically who I am as a fighter. And there's a little bit about me. I think I said everything already.
It's perfect. My first question is, do you like to prefer to train or to compete with gi or no gi?
Basically, I like the training. I like to train. So every time when I'm training the gi, I'm in love with this. I feel like I really like training with the gi. I started to develop my game and evolving on my positions. So therefore, I get really excited about training with the gi. And then suddenly, I started to have the no-gi season, and I started preparing no-gi, and I feel exactly the same way. It's just the season that I'm focused on, I'm having a great time doing what I'm doing. I think for me works really well the idea that I can work in seasons. So when I'm focused on the gi, I'm in love with the gi. When I take the gi out, I'm in love with the no gi. So I think I just love the sport, overall. So I think in order to become a good fighter, you gotta be good gi and no gi. So for me, I like to be passionate about both.
Good. What are your next competitions? Where will you fight soon?
Basically, on the first few years of my career, we dedicate ourselves consistently to compete as much as we can. I'm not the youngest, I'm not the oldest either. I'm 28 years old, and on the first stage I competed every year, every major competitions through the beginning to the end of the year. But now I've got different roles, so I choose in seasons for my competition scheme. I pick the major competitions, like the Worlds, the Europeans, the Pan Americans, the World No-Gi, ADCC. All those major competitions to focus as my own, but on the other time of the year, I have a lot of things to do. I'm a father, and I have a son, and I have a wife, and also I have my own school. I also am the regional director for Gracie Barra in Europe, so then I have a lot of work to do outside the mats. So, as I said, it's impossible to become a top-level fighter and to be a very busy person working for a major company like I have to do. So I wouldn't be able to do that if I didn't prioritize the right times. So, for example, now I am on the off season. I'm not training as much as I would be if I would be competing by next 2 months. So basically, I'm planning to start again in Europeans in January. So this is the last few months. I'm working hard. I'm traveling with seminars, and I'm doing a lot of work for Gracie Barra and for my school. So when that season started to go away just before Christmas, I started to get in the mat and become a competitor again. And then I would take over until the World Championships, which is the major event of the year for me.
Yeah, of course. We've seen that your brother tried the MMA experience last year in 2012, and he succeeded with a submission. Would you like to do this kind of experience in mixed martial arts?
I won't lie to you that it came into my head many times. But as I said, I am very passionate about Jiu-Jitsu, and I have experience in training for MMA, and I figured out that I haven't got that passion for the MMA. It's not, I love watching, but I think for me it's about a lifestyle, and I don't find the mixed martial art as the best lifestyle for my person, even though I'm passionate about watching and I like everything, but I love too much training Jiu-Jitsu and to contribute to my side. And I feel like if I'm gonna do it for the MMA, I'm not gonna be as passionate as I am for Jiu-Jitsu. So therefore, I realized that the chances for me to be as successful would be very least, because I'm very much about doing what I'm passionate about. And I cannot force myself to do something I'm not. So I find MMA is great. I've trained, I've done some sparring. I like it, but I wouldn't leave Jiu-Jitsu for MMA.
Even for one-time experience?
To be honest, it came to my head, but it's like, it's not on my head right now. I think I have a lot of things to prove in Jiu-Jitsu, and I wanted to keep focused on it. And every fighter in Jiu-Jitsu that left towards MMA, they had a hard time coming back to BJJ. So it's like losing the pace and then go back again. So it's like you usually go behind and have to work again to raise your bar. And I believe that I'm just reaching that bar right now, and it would be silly to kind of step out of the bar and to go back in again later. So I want to make sure I accomplish the major title, which is the World Championships in the gi. That's the only title missing for me, and once I have that, I might change my mind.
Good. What do you think about these MMA fighters who move from MMA to Jiu-Jitsu, gi or no gi competitions, such as Brendan Schaub, who did the Metamoris against Cyborg?
I think that they realize that there's a massive difference to grapple against a high-level grappler, about a high-level Jiu-Jitsu player, compared to MMA. MMA, it's all about distracting with a punch. If you drop your base, you drop your posture, you get hooked. If you put your face on the way, you get punched. So they get away with a lot. And they realize that when they go into the grappling that you can do different things that they can't punch. They become a little bit more exposed. Therefore, they're still great fighters and great athletes. So they fight a lot to don't get caught. And that would have happened exactly with Brandon Shaw over there on the Metamoris. It's just if fight to don't tap. And it's very easy to avoid if you're a fighter, to walk out of the fight. So, that's what it happened in that case. And he's not like that amazing grappler himself. That's why he was feeling like he couldn't cope, so he had to pull back. But there's many great BJJ fighters in the UFC that would do really great
Who, for instance?
George St. Pierre, for example, is an amazing grappler, and people underestimate him. His overall level in the ground, I think, is great. Especially when I trained with him a little bit, and I could tell. My brother also trained a little bit more with him, and he said, "Victor, that's not a joke, and the guy's good." So it's not the only one. That is also Jake Shields. There's so many, Demian Maia. So there's so many higher levels, up there. And Matt Hughes, like all those guys are legends. They're great on the ground, and those are the ones that you should worry about. So, the guys with really good background on the Jiu-Jitsu.
So you said that next year you'll be prepared for the European Championship, but will you fight again at the Metamoris?
I hope so. On the Metamoris, I didn't have time to train. I came from an injury before the Worlds. Like people I didn't never really mention about it. I had an injury before the World Championships. Straight after Abu Dhabi Pro, when I did the final, I was able to finish so many fighters that I wasn't in a great shape. I was thinking that was like on a dot for my World Championships. I was like feeling amazing. I haven't never felt that good in a long time. And then 1 week after that, I got injured. I couldn't walk for about 3 days. My back was seized, and that put me off a little bit from my preparations for the World Championships. And I spent about like 2 weeks no training at all. And then after that, I could train, but I couldn't pull guard. And I had to pull passing, but I couldn't do more than 2 rounds per day. So therefore, my training partners were training like 7, 8 rounds, and I was training only 1 and 2. So my confidence decreased a lot. But I fought the Worlds. I got third again, lost to Calazans when I have actually beat him by submission 3 weeks before in the Worlds, and I felt like it was my time. He's the only fight I lost to in my division until then, and I was able to to overcome that, and I was like, this is my time. And then he got me in a little point game, and he won, so got me out of my title, which I really wished to get, but I felt like really bad with the injuries. But then, as I was in America, and a fighter pulled out, and they were looking for fighters, and I thought, no, what, I'm here. Just I go, I don't care. Just go for a 20-minute round. I should be fine. But I didn't experience 20-minute round training because I was doing 2 10-minute rounds per day before the Worlds because of my injury. And then I accepted because, it's not every day you get a chance to fight in a major event. It's not every day that you get paid to do a fight in a major event. So I kind of thought, I'll fight every day. If an injury, I can cope. and then I just go for it, and it's gonna be paid. It's gonna be a good thing. So I said yes, so I did it. But I realized then that once I was 20-minute fight, when I couldn't really do much guard, and I ended up a lot in my back, and I had to hold the game down a little bit. It was a very interesting experience for me because I haven't never had a chance to prepare. I came back from an injury, and I wish that they can still see the potential that I can offer on that concept of events because I'm a finished fighter. Yeah, but I wasn't able to show that on that event, which makes me a little bit frustrated. But if I had the chance to do what Kron did, for example, just train 20-minute round, one day, every day, 20-minute round, you know, it completely changes how you fight.
And in this case, who would like to fight for a super fight?
I would love to fight him in a super fight anytime.
Who?
You know, Kron Gracie.
Kron.
Yeah, again.
Okay, again.
You know, you know, for example, Kron, I beat him first in the world's in the Panam's semi-final by 6-2 points. Lost to him in a super fight by 1 advantage. It's still like a 1-to-1. But I've got on the points a little bit more points than he has on me. So, but and I would love to give it a go with him again, and then he's the guy who I think that's good. He's a good fighter, and he's a good finish fighter too, and that's why he suits my game. And obviously, there's Calazans. I'd like to fight him again too, and the submission only contest would be amazing for me and him because he has to open up. He cannot hold 50-50 and advantage game with me anymore. And that's what I think that my game suits best when you go for finish. So Calazans and Kron, two guys that I would love
two big
to
names.
fight.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you very much for this interview, and we wish you the best for the next.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Et voilà, donc je vous invite à continuer de suivre l'actualité de Victor. Et merci beaucoup de nous suivre sur Globe-MMA. Ciao, ciao.
Merci beaucoup. Au revoir. À la prochaine.
À la prochaine.